The Reluctant Dragon by Kenneth Grahame. Read to you by Shell and a full cast. Long ago, might have been hundreds of years ago, in a cottage halfway between a little English village and the shoulder of the downs, a shepherd lived with his wife and their little son. Now the shepherd spent his days, and at certain times of the year, his nights too, up on the wide ocean bosom of the downs, with only the sun and the stars and the sheep for company, and the friendly chattering world of men and women far out of sight and hearing. But his little son, when he wasn't helping his father, and often when he was as well, spent much of his time buried in big volumes that he borrowed from the affable gentry and interested parsons of the country round about. And his parents were very fond of him and rather proud of him too, though they didn't let on in his hearing, so he was left to go his own way and read as much as he liked. And instead of frequently getting a cuff on the side of the head, as might very well have happened to him, he was treated more or less as an equal by his parents, who sensibly thought it a very fair division of labor that they should supply the practical knowledge, and he the book learning. They knew that book learning often came in useful at a pinch, in spite of what their neighbors said. What the boy chiefly dabbled in was natural history and fairy tales, and he just took them as they came, in a sandwichy sort of way, without making any distinctions. And really, his course of reading strikes one as rather sensible. One evening the shepherd, who had for some nights past been disturbed and preoccupied and off his usual mental balance, came home all of a tremble, and sitting down at the table where his wife and son were peacefully employed, she with her seam, he in following out the adventures of the giant with no heart in his body, exclaimed with much agitation,
"It's all up with me, Maria. Never no more can I go up on them there downs. Was it ever so?"
"Now don't take on like that,"
said his wife, who was a very sensible woman.
"But tell us all about it first. Whatever it is, it has given you this shake-up. And then me and you and your son here, between us, we ought to be able to get to the bottom of it."
"It began some nights ago,"
said the shepherd.
"You know that cave up there? I never liked it. Somehow. And the sheep never liked it neither. And when sheep don't like a thing, there's generally some reason for it. Well, for some time past there's been faint noises coming from that cave. Noises like heavy sighings, with grunts mixed up in them. And sometimes a snoring, far away down, real snoring, yet somehow not honest snoring. Like you and me o' nights, you know."
"I know,"
remarked the boy quietly.
Well, of course I was terribly frightened.
The shepherd went on.
Yet somehow, I couldn't keep away. So this very evening, before I come down, I took a cast round by the cave, quietly. And there, oh Lord, there I saw him at last, as plain as I see you."
"Saw who?"
said his wife, beginning to share in her husband's nervous terror.
"Why him, I'm telling you,"
said the shepherd.
"He was sticking halfway out of a cave, and seemed to be enjoying of the cool of the evening in a poetical sort of way. He was as big as 4 cart horses, and all covered with shiny scales, deep blue scales at the top of them, shading up to a tender sort of green below. As he breathed, there was that sort of flicker over his nostrils that you see over our chalk roads on a baking windless day in the summer. He had his chin on his paws, and I should say he was meditating about things. Oh, yes, a peaceable sort of beast enough, not ramping or carrying on or doing anything but what was quite right and proper. I admit all that. And yet, what am I to do? Scales, you know, and claws, and a tail for certain. But I didn't see that end of him. I ain't used to him, and I don't hold with him, and that's a fact.
The boy, who had apparently been absorbed in his book during his father's recital, now closed the volume, yawned, clasped his hands behind his head, and said sleepily,
It's all right, Father. Don't worry. It's only a dragon.
Only a dragon?
cried his father.
What do you mean, sitting there, you and your dragons? Only a dragon indeed! And what do you know about it?
'Cause it is,
replied the boy, quietly.
Look here, Father. You know, we've each of us got our line. You know about sheep and weather and things. I know about dragons. I always said, that cave up there was a dragon cave. I always said it must have belonged to a dragon sometime, and it's belonged to a dragon now, if rules count for anything. Well, now you tell me it has got a dragon, and so that's all right. I'm not half as much surprised as when you told me it hadn't got a dragon. Rules always come right if you wait quietly. Now please, just leave this all to me, and I'll stroll up tomorrow morning. No, in the morning I can't. I've got a whole heap of things to do. Well, perhaps in the evening, if I'm quite free, I'll go up and have a talk to him, and you'll find it'll be all right. Only please don't you go worrying around there without me. You don't understand them a bit, and they are very sensitive, you know.
He's quite right, Father,
said the sensible mother.
As he says, dragons is his line, not ours. He's wonderful knowing about book beasts, as everyone allows. And to tell you the truth, I'm not half happy in my own mind, thinking of that poor animal lying alone up there, without a bit of old hot supper or anyone to change the news with. And maybe we'll be able to do something for him. And if he ain't quite respectable, our boy will find it out quick enough. He's got a pleasant sort of way with him that makes everybody tell him everything.